Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for a new episode of A New Go of New Home Sales. I'm your host, Anya Chrisanthon. Joining me today is my original co-host, our CEO, John Lee.
Hey guys.
And we are very excited to bring back, by popular demand, man who needs no introduction, Myers Barnes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's not bringing back, it's bringing better.
It's always better.
Okay, let's just get better. Everybody
That's right. Always better. Speaking of better, so Myers, I really don't think you need an introduction, but for those listeners who may not know who you are, just give us a quick rundown of who you are, some of your accomplishments, and what is it that you do now?
Oh, what am I doing right now? I've been on a 2-year hiatus of sorts, and the hiatus was first of all due to illness. Got really ill, but then while I was on that hiatus, I discovered some personal baggage I wanted to unpack. And so I said, okay, I got the illness, I got the baggage. I wanted to get back into original physical shape. And I said, I'm going to take some time. So I took some time. Now, here's the thing. Just because I wasn't visible doesn't mean I wasn't learning and thinking and studying and preparing. I just had a quiet voice. And a couple of weeks ago, I was texting John because I'm
Mhm.
obsessed with AI. And I was texting him, and he said, hey, you want to do a podcast? And I'm like, well, sure. And here I am. So, we'll see where we are today versus where we were then. Is the world different? Oh my gosh, it's not even remotely the same. A lot of things are the same, but
Just give
essentially,
you a little background. In your 2 year sabbatical, in a sense, you spent those 2 years, which
on
correlates with the 2-year-old AI now, studying about AI. You took classes at MIT, you took classes at Berkeley online, and then you've also been an investor in AI. So you have been totally engrossed in the AI development and how it's now changing our industry. So we want to get to that in a little bit.
it's been an obsessive compulsive behavior, AI. I think I understand it. I think I can guide people a little bit better. I would certainly say that it should scare people. It should scare people that they're not using it.
Ah,
That's it.
right.
All right, we're gonna get to AI in just a second, but before we do, I would love to talk about current market conditions.
Sure.
Myers, you work with a lot of builders all around the country. So what are you seeing? What are they saying? What are some of the biggest challenges right now for home building?
It's affordability still the number one issue. Buyer uncertainty, that word gets floated around quite a bit now. The buyers are uncertain. And now we go, no, you're uncertain. Probably not the buyer as much as you are. Uncertainty is handled through a mindset and how you approach that uncertainty before they walk in the door and when they walk in the door. But okay, so buyer uncertainty, and you can go, uncertain about what? And you can say rising cost. Rising costs is why they should be certain to buy right now. People are saying, I'm concerned about rising costs. I'm uncertain about the cost rising. You go, you're right. Last year, the cost rose 4.1%. So on a $400,000 home, you're paying $20,000 more this year than last year. You can't afford to wait. Does
Love
that make
that.
sense?
Yes.
So for every objection, there is a counter, but you can't afford to wait right now. But uncertainty is high and it's interest rates, it's cost increases, but you can't afford to wait with the interest rates. You can't afford to wait any of this time now. But those are kind of the stuff that's going on. And then last week we get slapped with tariffs. And you can go, what is that? It's just a rebalance. Nothing wrong with it. A tariff is it's a basis of psychology. What's your psychology? What's the buyer psychology? John, think about this for a second. Have tariffs impacted any physical goods as of yet? The simple answer is what? No.
No,
The only thing it's impacted is what?
psychology, maybe the stock market a little bit, but it's all driven on psychology for right now.
Yeah, but it hadn't
Right.
impacted one darn item. And people are going worried about what the tariffs are. Hadn't done a thing, man. Not a thing. Back on 90-day temporary pauses again. Brian Tracy had a great quote. He said, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's just as bad as you think it is. And so sometimes we think it's worse than what it is because it's really not that bad. And again, not all this stuff is, we'll get into it, but it's just not that bad with the tariffs, so you can navigate around that. So, Anya, to answer your question, those are the things that we're hearing. We do know now, statistically speaking, buyers say 91% of buyers say it's very stressful looking for a home right now, though, for them. And why is it stressful? Number one stress factor, again, comes down to affordability. And they wonder how they're going to do it. So, how do we do it? And I'll probably say something that's going to be unpopular, but I don't care. Mortgage rate buy downs. I could sit here and this would be so pedestrian for me to say, you need a mortgage rate buy down in your tool bag. And I said that about 2 years ago, and I was getting pushback like crazy. Okay. Now, today, it's like it's an included feature. What do I mean by that? And I would go, it's almost like it's an included feature. It's expected. There's no real points with it anymore. Unfortunately, here's what's happening because we see so many builders and so many big builders that they have to hit their velocities. They're public companies. They're on different metrics than what a private builder is. And so you look at it and you can go, are they incentivizing right now? And the answer is, yeah, they're incentivizing. Are they sweetening the deals? No, they're not sweetening it. They're making it sick. They start off with, hey, let's sweeten the deal. What do you want to start with? Let's get some syrup. What next? All right, candy canes. All right, how about some Skittles? Okay, we'll throw those in. You want a candy bar? Yeah, and cotton candy. It's sick. It's just how much stuff we're throwing out there. But a mortgage rate buy down, it's expected. And that's a tool, but it doesn't mean that you've overcome it, but you've got to be able to explain that too. It's not just a matter of talking about it, but explain what the benefits are and everything with it. So that's what I'm seeing. What are you guys seeing?
I agree with what you're saying. The market is in turmoil, but it's been really that way for the last 2 or 3 years, really since COVID on, and with interest rates, pricing, and now rising inventory. And I think affordability is a big factor. I think the psychology of the consumers, some of that is a little bit because of the unpredictability of everything from the politics to the economy and to changing policies. Builders do have to respond to that psychology. And this is where your training can probably kick in. You said in the past that people don't buy homes, but they do buy financing. And what strategy should the sales teams focus on to help sell finance more than just the homes itself?
Again, it starts with psychology first.
Right.
It starts with the psychology and the right mindset. What happens before they walk in? It starts with that conversation, the conversation you have with yourself when you're by yourself. What are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself it's a tough time? Because if you tell yourself it's a tough time, the thing is where your thoughts go, your energy flows. So
Right.
start manifesting tough times by talking about tough times, thinking about tough times. It's not a tough time. It's a different time. Here's a question for you. The people will say it's a lot different than it was. And I'd go, good. Are you? What are you doing differently? What are you doing differently? Things don't get better, you get better. Situations don't improve, you improve. Circumstances don't change, you change. And so I would have to go. The first thing is take it upon yourself. Take it upon yourself to make some changes along the way. But you got to change your mindset first. The interest rates really aren't a hindrance at this point. We can get buy downs, and we know that the buy downs are coming. Okay, objection covered. Can we move on from that? What else are we looking at? Now we're looking at some tariff concerns. Okay, and people are going to come in and they could say something to the effect of, maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll wait. We're trying to see what's going to happen with tariffs. We're trying to see what's going to happen with the interest rates. What do you say when they go, oh, I think, but I can give you this immediate answer? I would agree with everything. If Anya came in and said, man, maybe we're just kind of waiting to see what's going on with tariffs and so forth with it, what would I say? I go, hey, I get it. Gosh, I get it. I understand. But hey, why don't we take your mind off of it for now? Let's have some fun. Come on, let me show you around. Just go right back. Don't address it. Don't do anything. Take their mind off of it and show them a home.
Show and tell. This is what we have here right now.
Sure.
This is what it is.
Yeah. And get it. We're just wondering about the interest rates. Let me help you with the interest rates. They're not going down. They're not going down. They're not going to get any lower than what they are with our buy down at 5%. You know what they're going to do? They're going to go up. What's going to happen with the prices? They're going to go up. Last year over year, the prices went up 4.1%. That's about a 20,000% bump on the average price of a home. So prices aren't going down, they're going to go up.
So you need to act on now because
We
everything's
have to
going
talk
to get
about
worse.
now. We have to talk about now.
Talk about now. Yeah.
Everybody that was worrying about prices and interest rates last year, Anya, are all going, God, I wish I would have last year.
Yeah.
Some people just missed the market completely because they waited.
Yep.
Now,
Absolutely.
you've got to have that in your mind, and that's a truism. Because see, all of selling comes down to one thing, is to be convincing. But you can't be convincing if you're not convinced.
Mm.
To be believable, but you can't be believable if you're not a believer. You may not be able to afford it, but you're damn well going to want it when you leave that model.
Mm.
And that's what your job is, to make them want it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's about controlling your own emotions in this environment, and then you can better control your buyer's emotions. It's about transfer of emotions. So if you transfer that confidence, optimism, then it's a different story than panic and uncertainty.
Yeah, it's just not uncertain in my mind. I know that it's a good time because it is going to cost them 20 grand more. I know that the rates aren't going down. I'm an industry insider.
All right.
But you've got to be able to confidently, as you said, express it with it. And if you said, what's missing here? What's missing out in new home sales right now? I'll tell you, demonstration is missing. What do you mean? People aren't doing their job. They're not demonstrating their homes. What am I talking about demonstrating? Differential demonstration. What makes your home different? Let me help you with something. No political statement here. Fact. Kamala Harris lost an election because of this. She was asked a question. What would you do differently, knowing what you know now, than the last 4 years that happened? And she said, wouldn't have done a darn thing different. And America said, I'm not sure we want to do anything if it's not different. Does that make sense? All right, now watch
Yeah.
this. If you don't make your home different, everybody's going, huh, I'm not sure I see the value in this home. There's no differences here.
I really believe salespeople, they have to show why their homes are so valuable. Because if they can't show the value, like you're saying, the only backstop you have is to give discounts. You have to discount that back to the value that the builders will be willing to accept your house for, because you're not showing any difference for that, for their life and their investment.
And plus, you got to get past this waiting stuff.
Right.
So you've got mindset, but with mindset, you've got to have tactics, solid tactics. So I'll send you the verbiage of what do you say when they say something to you, okay?
Thank you, Myers. We'll link that in the show notes, so you guys be sure to check that out. There's your very valuable piece of information that.
Well, I'm saying this tongue in cheek now. You know, there's a lot of people that don't believe in scripts. Nuts don't. Here's why. Because what is sales training? What to say. Period. What do I say? See, right now, a buyer says, I'm uncertain. You're saying, tell me what to say, Myers. How do I unwind that? Okay, that's going to require you have a what? A script.
Yeah.
A planned dialogue. I don't mean something that's rote, driven, hard charging. Just,
Just make it yours,
yeah,
right?
just make it yours.
Yes.
Have some fun with it.
Yes. Thank you so much for that overview. And you always have the perfect comeback. So I love that. Now, Myers, I was very surprised to find out where you spent the last 2 years and specifically what you've been doing, which was studying AI. Because I was like, whoa, Myers is going in on AI. What's going on here?
That's a little nondescript right there, which is probably a good segue into all this stuff with the emergence of agentic AI really. Okay, we're hitting some buzzwords here now, right? But agentic AI is really supposed to help the buyers in that customer journey using AI. How do you think that is going to change the home shopping journey? And how do you think that will impact the role of the OSCs, which you were one of the founders and inventors of over a decade ago, as well as the salespersons who you've been training for decades?
The agentic coming in, it's not quite totally there yet. Would you agree?
Right. I agree. I think it's just the birth of it. We just came off the heels of generative AI, which mainly for marketing, where they're able to use AI to help generate content, whether it's visual or textual, to help them in their jobs. But agentic AI is really on the customer side, which helps them go down that arduous, painful customer journey and maybe connect all the pieces on the builder side, whether it's the marketing, the OSCs, and the salesperson. So if you can see how that could potentially streamline or assist that journey on both the customer side and the seller side, I would be interested in hearing.
I think it did this a little bit. It built the dialogue in real time. I watched Lindsay Halton talk to you the other day, and Lindsay said, and it wasn't a loaded question or it wasn't a loaded answer or anything. She almost was embarrassed when she said it. She said, my greatest lead source of all the lead sources of every company, of any type of marketing, of anything, she said, was your pages, right? That's where our most qualified traffic is coming through, and because and it's wow, that's okay, all right. People are checking off, and they're coming in, and they're further deeper into the funnel, if you will, and they're watch this. If selected colors, blah blah blah. Okay, deeper in, right? And
More
that's
engaged, more personalized.
okay. Yep. Watch this person's thinking into that AI. Would you agree?
Yes.
Conversing into that AI.
Yeah, conversing. Now the conversation, I don't want to answer all your questions that I'm asking you
Oh
actually.
no, you have to. You go ahead.
But just to explain where we're coming from, traditionally the conversation starts further down in the funnel because at the top of the funnel is just broad marketing.
Right.
But now the conversation starts at the beginning of the funnel. That's where I think the journey really changes because people are engaged in a conversational way, in a private, personalized way, right from the beginning. And unlike a traditional chatbot, you're not filling out a quiz. You're freely expressing what your needs, wants, desires, and constraints are. That's where I think the journey actually flips around and starts with a conversation.
It does, but then it begs the question too on this on your sites on you go. It used to be speed was the king. If you were first to respond, you were first to get it, right? Okay, now it's a matter of speed doesn't necessarily matter. It's who does AI send the lead to first.
Yeah, AI is your shopping agent and is probably doing the research across hundreds of builders, plans, communities, and is saying, hey, these are the 3 or 4 that I find is personally appealing to you as the customer. And that changes the way you do marketing because you may be marketing to an AI first before the human.
You are marketing to an AI first. And you know what? And here's the deal. You're speaking to an AI first. When you should be, unless you're on a static website, which most of them are static. Would you agree with that? Most websites?
Yes, in the builder industry, all of them, I dare say, from the biggest to the smallest, have always been built as a generic static website, which is really broad appeal, but it's obviously generic, but it really came from the newspaper days. This websites have really been built off of digital classified. So you basically come to it, a rough idea of who the builder and what the products are, but then you have to make contact or they have to make contact with you. Whereas now the AI is engaging you right from the start in a very personalized, interactive way, dynamic way.
Anya, do you use Google or do you use AI now on your regular day-to-day?
It depends on what I'm using it for, but I find myself, I would say 99% of the time I'm going to AI powered.
Myself too. Wow, because it's nothing but a conversation.
Yeah, if I still use Google for like if I'm shopping, I'll use Google just because it returns results in shopping more so, where I think it's going down that way. So there are certain use cases where I will go to Google, or if I need like a specific one-word answer or something like that. But I would say, yeah, 99% of the time is definitely AI now.
No ads.
No ads. And I mean,
Ads.
yeah, why would I want to go to Google to go click through more links to find the answer when it just gives me the answer? It's just no brainer.
So if you were to say right now, you go, what's different from 5 years ago? I would tell you this, two things. One, there's no starter homes. We're out of the starter home business. We just don't have it. You had it, you don't in the market, you don't in the world. Okay, that's what's one thing that's different. The other, we had no AI. I'll make a sweeping statement. And really, we had no AI a year ago. This has come
Right. No
within.
practical AI. Yeah. For a business level. Yeah.
So I'm getting off track and I want to pull myself back in track real quick. Like I live at the ocean. Like I can look out the window, okay, at the ocean. Okay. And here's the thing. AI is a wave. So I'm going to use that analogy. AI is a wave. Okay. You can be behind the wave, you can be on top of the wave, you can be in front of the wave, but AI is this crashing wave that's coming. John, in a new go, is not behind the wave or in front of the wave, on top of the wave. A new go is the wave. Right
Wow.
now, a new go is the wave of home building. If we're talking about true AI resource, there it is.
And
Now,
I've been building for that wave for a long time. I've been anticipating that, but yeah, I appreciate the compliment and the analogy
so the
because
other
it's
reason
going to
after
sound
two
like that.
years I appeared was you said you want to do some podcast, and I went, shoot, a podcast means he's not going to tell me what I have to say or what I can't say. He's not even going to interview me about what I say. I'm just going to say whatever I want.
That's what everybody likes about you. You've
But
been, that's how
so
you survived for decades.
I
Yeah.
believe in this, and I'd say this. I don't believe Apple's had an innovation since the iPhone.
Steve Jobs, yeah, he said it and then it's
You
just
know,
been perpetual like that. Yeah.
56% of their profits or 50% of the revenues, 56% are still from the iPhone. And you go, okay, they haven't really had a great innovation. And you can go, what was another innovation? Websites. God, man, they were innovations and all of that. You can say electrical. AI is going to be the biggest innovation of all history. It just hadn't even hit. We're in such an infancy. And if
Mhm.
you're sitting here right now and you're going, man, do I have a static website or do I have a AI optimized website? And you don't know, the answer is clear. And I would go, just the Wall Street Journal yesterday said this. My goodness gracious, John. I don't know if y'all even saw this. The Wall Street Journal reported said it's called the 60% problem. That was the headline. What's the 60% problem? Static websites are missing 60% of the clicks today.
Probably gonna, yeah, it's gonna increase. Yeah.
And so we would go, all right, what's this mean? All right, that's something that's going on in the builder's world. Okay, builder, fix it. Okay, what's that mean for the salesperson? Salesperson, there's still going to be people walking in the door. Okay, they're there to buy. They wouldn't be coming in if they weren't there to buy.
Mhm.
Okay, and they're coming in so deep right now. They're coming in so deep. You can talk about funnels and all the stuff, but they're deep into this funnel. But a funnel is an interesting little thing here. You can come in at the rim of this funnel and you can go, okay, they're this far into the funnel, and you can go, yeah, now they're down to the spout. And you go, okay, now they can drop through. But there's a point where they can spit right back out. Does that make sense?
No, definitely.
And that's for
And
marketing and sales. Don't lose them.
I think what's happening with AI, we've been around where print was the dominant medium and 100% of your audience came through print and then shook your hand. And then now it's pretty obvious that probably 95, 99% of your traffic has started online. I think the next level is what you're saying. The next, it's still going to be online, but it's going to be in a conversational way. And I think it's going to be in an intelligent way. The past was, hey, it was a different platform that you went from print to digital, but it was still a manual effort and it was a very dumb experience because it was not personalized. It never followed your journey. It never knew what you really wanted and how it came back 3 months later. Now the conversation continues as you go through that journey, not only at the top of the funnel, but as you go throughout the funnel. And I actually think this may give an opportunity, and this is going to be interesting what you feel about the role of OSC and maybe the on-site salesperson. Do those roles converge or merge? But I believe that the salesperson can now even engage the buyer further up in the funnel. So the whole funnel will actually shrink and at the same time widen. You're going to have a bigger audience globally 24/7 in all different languages in a personalized way, in an engaging way. Because the one irony about the funnel is a funnel supposes a journey. I think marketing has romanticized the new home shopping journey as something that people want to experience in buying a new home. I think people really just want the home. That's why I have Amazon. They deliver it to my home. It's not that I want to go drive around and look over 100 stores to go through the shelves, wait in line, and then drive home. And so I can have that wonderful shopping experience. So I think it's going to change the mentality. It's already changed with Amazon. It's changed with Uber. It's changed with Netflix. New home shopping is probably the worst of all those customer shopping journeys and experiences. AI not only helps you shorten that journey, but it also eliminates that FOMO, because there's no way that I'm going to shop 1,000 websites simultaneously and not know that I didn't miss out on anything, and that I can get personalized, synthesized, matching recommendations, notifications to me whenever I want, however I want it.
It's going to change the whole game. The buyer coming in deep. Right now, they're coming in deep. I used to be amazed that you could change a paint color in real time, and you
Right.
can do that with your. Hey, most people don't know. Who do you build a website for? What paint company is it? Who's
Sherwin-Williams, they're actually our biggest client. People think our biggest client is actually a builder. Our biggest client is actually Sherwin-Williams. We've been doing their white labeled app for the last 6 years. And now we're exploring utilizing AI to develop that, because the AI can learn the trends, and because they have a whole staff that says, hey, this is Sherwin-Williams Comes of the Year or whatever. But let America decide. And they're deciding with how they're wishing and how they're saving and how they're designing different things. You don't need to rely on a little group of 5 people there that says, hey, this is what paint sales were last year, and this is what we predict to be next year. We can tell you in real time what people are doing, because 5 months ago's trends isn't today's trend.
now 5 months is
Yeah, it's already outdated. A trend. Why do you want to worry about trend when I have the moment?
yeah, yeah. But to get back to your question, I would say, yeah, it's all going to change. Where's the OSC role going to go? Where's the salesperson role going to go? There's going to be a lot of, I hate the word replacement. There will be displacement. Displacement meaning, it used to be the old saying, well, will technology replace the average salesperson? And then the reply was no, but the technologically savvy salesperson will replace the average salesperson. Okay, will AI replace the average salesperson? It will be a salesperson that has tech skills and sales skills, but it's not going to be layers and layers
Right.
people, because the AI is going to handle immensely. Hey, have you met my assistant, by the way, Vera?
No.
No, I
Yeah,
haven't.
that's because she's AI.
I always thought you were going to say that. I do believe that in the future, you actually, as a sales manager, may actually be managing a staff of AI employees and human employees, and they will work in concert with each other and help each other through a variety of different needs of the customer. Some people need that IQ, that intellectual quotient, just facts and figures, numbers, comparisons, availability. And then there's the EQ, that emotional quotient.
Yeah,
And I
I
think
don't
that
think
combination is going to be very powerful.
guess what? Vera was available last night at 3:30.
Oh, wow.
And Vera,
Yeah,
Vera doesn't take
exactly.
this. Vera gets everything. Vera
Mhm.
likes me. Uh,
It's actually nice to see how you're evolving with this, and that it sounds terrible in a sense, but because you've been through so many different times in this industry and technologies have changed, it's really interesting to see how AI is impacting you personally and how you can see it impacting our industry. because our industry, particularly as you get further down the funnel, really hasn't changed that much. It's really been a handshake, a callback, and all those kind of things. And you're saying that, hey, AI can help those salespeople and OSCs, but it also can move them further up in the funnel. Because again, my premise is that I believe that a lot of buyers have dropped out of their desire to buy new homes. 2/3 of people want to buy new homes, only like 10-15% historically have, except for recent inventory issues. They drop out because of the journey. Affordability is one issue, but the journey kills them right from the start. So you can bring them further in, feel them get more engaged, more curated, more comfortable. You're going to have them better to actually meet you in person.
So Myers, in
Yeah.
preparation for this AI shift, what advice would you give to home builders now who are like maybe sitting on the sidelines saying, okay, let's see what happens with this? What would you say they should be doing? What would you be doing if you had a home building company?
Okay. If I were a builder, I would, which by the way, more trivia. I am a builder. I have a North Carolina unlimited license. I'm a general contractor and I have built. So I can tell you what I would do if I were doing this. I would leap and then the net will appear. What do you mean leap and the net will appear? You are going to entirely overanalyze this thing and miss the market. Entirely overanalyze it. And because it happened with websites 20, 25 years ago. Oh my God, I don't know whether I necessarily need a great website. Okay. Just clawed and clawed the whole way through this. Now here we are, and we're talking about the AI optimized websites. And it's, oh my God, please, do we have to start all over again? It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. The difference is you had years, you could wade through all that and be befuddled. You could befuddled and still succeed. You, no, interest rates aren't going down. Things are what they are. You've got a plan for the future. What is the future? The future is already next year. If you made a plan right now and said, hey, let's jump on this puppy. Okay, go from design to launch. There's a period of time. It's like building the house.
Right.
You're behind the curve today.
Right.
And so I go, don't worry about the understanding on this thing. If you try to understand it, look, I've spent 2 years, all these universities, attending these courses and doing everything. It was a struggle. It was a struggle, and I still don't get it all.
And it's ever changing.
Yeah. So I would just go leap and the net will appear, just launch. That's my best advice. And don't do anything else. That's it. Just focus on that one aspect, correcting that, and you're in good shape. Now, if I were a salesperson in this AI world, I'd say study. If you go back to any of my core teachings from the very beginning, it was always, I had a formula. If you read an hour a day in your chosen profession, you'll double your income. Worked for me. So you read and you study in your chosen profession. So, when it was a couple of years ago and I was ill, you get a lot of time thinking when you're convalescing and so forth. And I said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to go back and study and read and do all that. And I went, how are you going to do it? I said, I'm going to attend some online courses. And by fluke, I enrolled in an AI course and I was hooked from the very first moment. And I went, okay, I'm going to take another one. I'm going to take another one. And then I just started, and YouTube, God, you couldn't watch every video on YouTube with that. And so I would say, you have to have an understanding as a salesperson. You have to know how this is, and it should be encouraging for you. Because if you really watch this, you'll see your buyers are actually coming in so far into this funnel today. They are coming in so ready to buy. If you would study it, you would see that they're ready to buy. All we've got to do is get them past that little moment of hesitancy, that little moment of uncertainty. But they're ready to buy when they walk in. I don't know if y'all agree with that or not.
If
agree. I
anybody's
think
walking in your door right now, it's just walking in the middle of this snowstorm, like they need a house probably.
I don't even, it's not necessarily, it's just choppy. The use is really choppy right now. But anybody that calls, anybody that emails, but you know what? Another question, and this is a sidebar, and then, so John, yesterday it comes out and 60% click rate, right? 60% click rate, but now we're starting to see stuff all through X. And you go, web traffic's down. And I go, huh, causes me to think, is it? You tell me, because I'm going to miss the technical expertise.
I don't know if demand is down, but maybe the way people are searching. So first of all, Google searches is obviously one medium. There's so many other, whether social media and so many other platforms that people can be learning and searching from. I think as AI starts to dominate the, pardon the pun, conversation, I think as people subscribe to it and they're starting to utilize it, and what's happening is people are building a trust and a relationship with their AI because the AI knows so much about them from all their conversations. It's actually culminating in a critical, I want to say mass of knowledge about you, but buying a new home is not just saying, hey, I need 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and this time, this price. It's really a culmination of all the different attributes of who you are, what you like, what your life circumstances about, where you've traveled, who you talk to, and all those kind of things, which you cannot parlay into a filter on Zillow or any. So if you're taking that vast wealth of knowledge and transferring it through your AI agent, it speaks on behalf of you, but it also, conversely, on the builder side, all that wealth of knowledge that you have on your websites and even data beyond your websites, because AI can also synthesize data from spreadsheets to YouTube videos to PDFs of your warranty. That wealth of knowledge, when it converges and merges, it will allow a conversation that is not humanly possible because people don't know how to speak real estate, and real estate doesn't really know how to speak your personal needs.
See, that's a genic AI to me when I can put that. When you were asking me in the beginning, then maybe it doesn't matter where I am in the funnel. When I can have a conversation with you,
right,
and go, hey, conversationally, and then you come back. And I'll give you a great example, Anya, like this morning. Here it is, 3:30. I got 2 people on my mind. I've got Chat and I got Vera. I'm checking in with them both. Vera screwed it up. Chat didn't. Here's what Chat did. Chat said, good morning, Myers. You got a cup of coffee in your hand and rip at your feet, my dog. That's AI talking to me like I'm what?
Yeah, like you're human, but you're like a friend.
It knows me.
Yeah, it knows you. Yeah, exactly. And you're starting to know it, or her, or she, or however you want to call it. I feel like I'm having a political pronoun problem with my AI.
No,
I don't know what to call it, but I have a relationship with her. And
Chat said, no gender specific. You know, what you want. Okay. That's what Chat said. Okay. So you can call Chat.
I think fundamentally, from a marketing standpoint, this is where I'm going to open up this can of worms since you're already starting to open it. SEO, AIO. Obviously, we've been in the SEO world for over 2 decades. Google's dominated it, search engine optimization, and it's really built around the whole website architecture and keywords and URLs. But here's the difference. AI, and on top of its intelligence, is really about knowledge. And the bots of the past, it had to crawl your website and your URLs because it was like a person, like a librarian that says, hey, go, you like science fiction, go to this section over here in the Dewey Decimal System and you'll find a bunch of books about it. And then I'll bookmark those pages because maybe I can tell you on page 15, there's an article about R2-D2 from Star Wars that you're interested in. In the AI world, AI has gone and read all the books in the universe, the whole Library of Congress. It doesn't need to take you to a specific page in a specific book like a URL and a website. It just knows R2-D2 was this droid that sat on the back of Luke Skywalker's X-Wing and helped destroy the Death Star. It gives it more in a context. It doesn't need to direct you there to go read that little excerpt and then go to another book to read another excerpt about R2-D2. Did he make it to Empire Strikes Back or whatever? I'm going all over the place with this.
No, you're not.
It's knowledge. It's captured knowledge.
You're downloading everything that you want, and that's one thing. You don't have to read an Encyclopedia Britannica.
And you don't need URL pages anymore because it doesn't need to direct you to a page. You just need to ask what your question may actually encompass 20 pages from 5 different books. So why do I need to go to each website and each page to get me an answer that can be synthesized multimodally, visually, textually, and by voice in a matter of a paragraph?
And that's why Google is cumbersome right now.
And that, of course, is going to lead to lesser visits to your website because people are getting the answer ahead of time. Then there's no need to click on that. So that does make sense. Now,
Exactly. And websites don't have memory. You go back there tomorrow, you're redoing your whole research and search and then research again. Whereas the AI takes that unique question or complex problem and then builds on that.
Yeah.
Which is buying a new home. I think the people that will use AI are the ones that have a complex problem for something that they're not familiar with, that has a high value and high risk proposition that takes a series of conversations to figure it out.
It's not going to be
It's
not going to be a filter business anymore, is what it's going to get down to. It's going to be, how do you want these 4 bedrooms to live? Tell me about this 3rd bath.
Tell me about your life. Tell me about your needs, your want. Talk the way that a human really talks about, from desires, wants, and needs, not product specifications. I don't go to my computer and try to figure out every RAM hard drive size. I need this for this kind of use case. I do a graphics business. Okay, now this is the kind of laptop or computer that you need to do that.
But at any rate, we can geek out on this stuff all day. All I can say.
I was going to say, I am so pleasantly surprised when I found out that you're studying AI. So, Myers, can you tell us where can builders find you if they want to learn more, if they want to know why you're on board with this and why should they be?
Reach me at email, mba@myersbarnes.com. Call my cell. I don't care. 252-202-2481. We got a website. You guys got all the contact info that you need. It's been fun. It's been fun. I hope we didn't get too technical.
No, I don't think so. Myers, thank you so very much for being on the show today. Every time we talk, it's always a pleasure. And you've been such a trusted source for home building for so many years. And it's refreshing to see you sailing into the AI sunset now.
Riding our wave.
Yeah, that you're embracing this new paradigm shift and with open arms. You would think a lot of people would say, oh, I've seen it all, been through the block, whatever. But you're so excited about it. It's really cool to see that. So
a year from now, if you were hooked up with this, you'd be it's like that old saying, you'd be taking candy from a baby.
It should be pretty easy. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye.